Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're going to look past the statues and the textbooks to explore the powerful revolutionary ideas of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, one of modern India's key architects.
Okay, so let's get right into it. We all know the title, right? Father of the Indian Constitution. But what was really going on in his head? Beyond that title, what was his core philosophy? What were the big ideas that fueled his entire life's work? To really get a grip on his thinking, we're going to break it all down into 3 core pillars. And trust me, these aren't just dusty old ideas from a history book. You're about to see how they are just as relevant and powerful today as they were when he first came up with them.
So, where do we start? Well, for Dr. Ambedkar, the foundation for everything, for progress, for freedom, it all began with one essential tool: education.
I mean, just think about that imagery for a second. It's so powerful. He doesn't just say education is important. He calls it the milk of a lioness. It's not just about nourishing your mind. It's about gaining strength, finding your courage, and developing a voice so powerful that you can roar.
And this really gets to the heart of what he believed. For Ambedkar, you see, education wasn't just about getting a certificate to hang on the wall. No, it was a weapon, the greatest weapon for fighting social injustice. And beyond that, he believed that the ultimate purpose of being human was to cultivate the mind.
And that idea of liberating the mind, well, it leads us perfectly into his second pillar. Because once your mind is free, what do you fight for? The creation of a society built not on hierarchy, but on equality.
This quote is just incredible. It shows how truly modern and holistic his vision of equality was. For him, the real measure of a community's progress wasn't its economy or its army, but how it treated and empowered its women. That was the real test.
Now, this next point is absolutely crucial to understanding his thinking. He made this incredibly sharp distinction between 2 kinds of freedom. On one hand, you have legal freedom, the rights you have on paper. But on the other, you have social freedom, the actual ability to live with dignity. And he basically asked, what's the point of having a right if society stops you from actually using it?
And this shows that the fight for equality wasn't some one-and-done event for him. It was a constant struggle. He knew rights weren't just going to be handed over, they had to be won. And even if perfect equality seems like an impossible dream, he insisted that it must be the governing principle we strive for every single day.
So that brings us to the final pillar. If you have a foundation of educated citizens, all striving for equality, what kind of nation does that build? What was Dr. Ambedkar's ultimate vision?
Such a simple but profound statement. In a country with so many different castes, religions, and languages, he was adamant that for the nation to be strong, one identity had to come before all others: the identity of being an Indian. First and last.
This is where he introduces one of his biggest ideas. He said that political democracy, voting, government, all that, is fragile. It can't survive without what he called social democracy. This means weaving liberty, equality, and fraternity into the very fabric of daily life. He saw them as an inseparable trinity. Why? Because liberty without equality just lets the strong dominate the weak. And equality without liberty can crush the individual. And without fraternity, that sense of brotherhood, neither of the other two can truly exist.
So at the end of the day, a nation isn't just lines on a map. It's a shared community built on a shared morality. He saw the Constitution not as some dry legal text, but as a vehicle of life, a living guide to building that just society. And a huge part of that is knowing your history, because if you forget where you came from, you can't create a better future.
So, after looking at these 3 massive ideas, education, equality, and nationhood, you have to ask the big question: why are we still talking about this? Why does it matter so much right now?
Well, here's the real genius of it all. They're not just 3 separate ideas you can pick and choose from. They're all interconnected. Education gives people the power to demand equality. And a society that's truly equal is the only real foundation for a strong, united nation. It's like a 3-legged stool. If you take away one leg, the whole thing collapses.
And we'll end with this final thought from Dr. Ambedkar, which really captures his entire philosophy. It's a powerful challenge to all of us, not just to exist, not just to live a long life, but to live a great one. A life of purpose, a life of meaning, and a life dedicated to the incredible ideals he fought for.